Good evening, race fans, and welcome to the show. Tonight we have a good one here. We have the Riptide Radio Next Gen Cup Series at Hotlanta. That's right, Atlanta Motor Speedway. But these guys are men in this league because we are running the old Atlanta. So not the new green-walled super speedway racing. This is the old asphalt. This track is going to eat away at the tires here tonight, and these drivers going to try and manage the best they can those said tires for tonight's main event. Also tonight, the race is being presented by Gardner's Trading Post. So tonight is, of course, the Georgia Peach 210 being presented by, like I just mentioned, Gardner's Trading Post. A little bit of info about them. They like to say that barter is back, and they'll take anything in a train. In a trade, let's say, not a train. Maybe if you can get a car there in a train, it sounds like they would take it. But, you know, over at the Gardner's Trading Post, they'll take anything in a barter. So if you're looking to trade in something, check them out, as they are found in Rutland, Vermont. As we wrap up practice here in about 2.5 minutes right now, Stephen Holmes just set the best lap of practice so far with a 30.60. So if I had to guess, that will probably be about the mark for the qualifying pace. So we'll see who can hit that mark. And I've been watching practicing a little bit, folks, and we'll try and get a shot of it on the camera if we can. But one thing that iRacing has done, so new season coming up, that means new update, new build stuff, and you can see it a little bit against the wall there. iRacing really messed around with the marbles here coming into this season, so now marbles have much more effect on both how the car drives and how it feels under you. You know, you'll definitely lose grip, and marble is definitely a lot more prominent. You'll see them up against the wall on the apron down here. So Atlanta already has a very tricky pit road. I mean, you can see the gap off the corner. Not much room at all to slow down, and these drivers gonna have to try and navigate that difficult pit road entry, and also do that with the marbles. So it's definitely going to be a lot for these drivers. Of course, another thing here, a little bit of update to the next gen car with how it feels, how it reacts. So should be interesting as a whole, man. Some big hits here as we start to wrap up practice, let's say. So a minute left right now, top 5 in practice. Stephen Holmes, Rob Lowell, Johnny Barker, Justin Branham, and Jim Ott rounding out the top 5. Last week, we of course saw Jeff Pogo go to victory lane for the second time this season, picking up the win at Texas at a green-white checkered finish. So definitely some drama there. We'll see if that continues here tonight. Another 1.5 miles, but this place definitely more treacherous than Texas. Of course, top 5 from Texas, Jeff Pogo picking up the win. Kyle Peacock finishing second. Bryce Shoemaker rounding out the podium. Kenny Reel keeping that top 10 streak alive. He has finished every single race inside of that top 10. He finishes 4th. And how about this guy, Dan Dill, rounding out the top 5. Snuck his way to the top 5 there at the end, and a heck of a finish by him. So want to, of course, give him a big shout out. Right now, as they run, Pogo, points leader, Steve Ritter, of course, missing last week, gonna miss this week in that move. He still sits second coming into tonight, but very close to him. Christian Delgado sits 3rd in points, about 3 points back. Tied with Delgado in 3rd in points is the 11 car, Kenny Reel. And then it is Jim Ott rounding out the top 5, just sitting 6 points back from 2nd place. So Expect a big shakeup in the points as Ritter will miss this week, but don't forget, folks, 2 drop weeks throughout this very long season. Both could be used if you miss a race. Well, for sure will be used if you miss a race, but also will eliminate some bad finishes if you happen to have some, like, let's say, maybe, I don't know, a super speedway where anything could happen. Qualifying, getting ready to rock and roll as cars heading out to the speedway here. We're going to try and see who we should tag along with here. And I haven't taken a look too much at this guy. We'll take a look here in qualifying. This is the driver of the 63 machine, Max Cost. Cost coming around to take the green flag. So 63 machine is on the clock so far. Everyone on their first lap or their out lap. No one has taken a lap yet. And I don't think we'll see anyone really wind it up, let's say, for the first entire lap. What I mean by that is running the wall on both ends of the corner to really build as much momentum. I think it'll be a first lap shootout, and if you miss your marks on your first lap, you do have a second lap. Right now, quick time, a 30.79. That done by the 21 machine. Cost first lap a 30.93. That puts him P number 4 here at the moment on the left side of our screen. Cost down the backstretch for the final time. Gonna enter a little bit on the middle lane. Doesn't quite get that car down to that white line. That's where you preferably want to be in 3 and 4 if you can get your car that low and hold it. As Lowell picks up some more time, a 30.72. That would be tough to beat. It looks like Cost will improve to P number 3 with that last lap being a 30.84. One car rolling out on the speedway, a little bit of bumps there, and that just shows you how tough it is to both get on and off pit road. I mean, this pit road exit isn't a cakewalk either. It's got a lot of bumps, very treacherous, and you'll see a little bit of extra banking right at the start of the apron. That's where you want to be to carry the most speed without us spinning on out. As man, what a lap by the number 90 machine. Stephen Holmes throws down a 30.66. That is a flying lap from the number 90 machine. Pogo lap number 1 goes to a 30.74. Very solid first lap. Now Jim Ott goes to second quick. Of course, looking at the 69 machine, this is Chris Taylor. Taylor coming to complete lap number 1. Taylor will go 13th quick at a 30.87. Final time lap for Taylor. What more does he have left in the tank? Looks like Ott not able to get better. Same with Pogo, Lowell, Branham right now sitting in the top 5 with Stephen Holmes leading at the top of the charts. Taylor off of turn number 4 gets a piece of the wall, so that will not allow this lap. Looks like at the moment Taylor will set P number 14. No chance to improve from that. Looks like one of the final qualifiers, that being the body armor Barstool Sports BG graphics machine of Brandon Guerin. Guerin already completed lap number 1. Lap number 1 was a 31.00, so Guerin got in here a little bit late. Probably didn't get the practice time that he needed. But we'll see if he can improve here on his final lap. We'll cross the stripe. And it looks like, yes, he will by a lot. All the way up to P number 6 for the number 1 machine. And it looks like Kenny Real wrapping on up. Only 17th quick. So if Real wants to continue that streak, he's going to have his work cut out for him. But the man picking up the Leaf Guard Quick Time Award is the Motorcraft number 90 machine. That is Stephen Holmes walking away with a little bit of bragging rights, a little bit of some prize money before we even take the green flag, as Stephen Holmes, tonight's Leaf Guard Pole Sitter Award. As big congrats to Stephen there, of course. That means one thing, that 90 machine gonna lead the field to green. Speaking about the field coming to green, let's run through tonight's starting order. Alrighty, folks, let's head on over and get ready to see tonight's starting order. Like I said before, Stephen Holmes walking away with the Leaf Guard Quick Time Award. That means he is leading the field to green. He'll roll off in the best seat in the house, P number 1. To the outside of the front row will be the auto owner's number 4 Chevy Camaro, that being piloted by Jim Ott in the number 4 machine. He will roll off P number 2. Starting in third will be a new scheme on that card tonight, of course, with the Gardner's Trading Post. We'll have to take a look at that thing up close and personal, but it's the 21 machine of Rob Lowell. To his outside, last week's winner, it is the 97 of Jeff Pogo. Rounding out the top 5 here tonight, a solid qualifying effort by this guy right here. And the Kellogg Cereal number 58 machine, it is Justin Branaham. To his outside, we saw his second lap to put him there, the number 1 of Brandon Guerin. Rolling off P number 7 will be the 8 car, that is Matthew Taylor. And to his outside, the 81 of Dan Dill. Rolling off P number 9 will be the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker. And rounding out the top 10 will be the 6 car, that is Johnny Barker. Rolling off P number 11 will be Kyle Peacock in that number 83 machine. Matt Cost in the 63, rolling off 12th. 13th is Frank Zingen in the 62. Eric Holly in the number 7, rolling off P number 14. P number 15, of course, going to the 69. That is Chris Taylor. Got to check out that car there in qualifying. And two's outside, the double 3 machine, the 33 of Austin Smith, rolling off 16. Then deep in the field here tonight, the 11 of Kenny Reel, starting 17th, 18th. Another deep start for this driver as well. Christian Delgado rolling off 18th. 19th going to Robert Dent. Rounding out the top 20 is Caleb Hatt. 21st going to Dustin Coggins. 22nd is Jason Ayerson. 23rd is Jason Wiley. 24th is Ariba Caton. Then we head to the pretty much final row as Cody Brewer will roll off 25th. 26th is Mike Babinchak, and Eli Raposa starting shotgun on the field. Looks like one car not making the grid here. Looks like the 63 of Matt Koss not making the call, so interesting there. But there we go, taking a look here at the 21G, used to be G-Stone machine tonight, of course, with the special paint scheme for the Gardner's Trading Post on the 21 machine. And apparently this paint scheme done up like a replica paint scheme that Gardner ran on his factory stock Cobra Jet Mustang when he ran the NHRA and the NMCA tour. So pretty cool stuff, and I gotta say that paint scheme pretty awesome here tonight. And here we go, iRacing pace car down on pit road. Stephen Holmes leading the field to green flag. And for 140 laps, we go green flag racing. There's one car already through the grass. That looks like it is Jason Wiley. Wiley having some sort of issues on the start. If we stay green, we may be able to check that on out at a later time. But everyone else, oh, one car big time in the wall. That, I think, is that red car up in front of Garen. I think that is Jeff Pogo. Yes, it is. Pogo making heavy contact with the wall off of turn number 1. So we'll have to see how damaged that race car is here as we complete lap number 1. And with some calamity, but so far, green flag here tonight. Wow, this one's starting off with a bang here, folks. We'll see if everything kind of calms on down here for a moment. My assumption would be, as tonight you're going to have to be very disciplined, very patient inside this race car, because all it takes a couple laps to overheat that right front, and you might as well be coming down pit road in the next 10 laps. Top 5 kind of single filed on out here for the most part. Taking a look here at the best battle on track and looking 3 wide for just a second. Yes, they will, as Matt Taylor, the meat in the sandwich going into turn number 3, he will continue to get kind of passed on both sides, as Taylor definitely in full-time tire saving mode, as he says, you know what, everyone else, feel free to go around. I'm going to manage my stuff so I can go flying by you here in about 20 to 25 laps or so. Still taking a look here, and now Kenny reeled to the inside of Taylor. Taylor now has fallen 8th position all the way back to 15th and maybe some more. As here comes Eric Holly bringing along Chris Taylor and Dustin Coggin as well. Some of the early quick movers out here tonight being the 54 of Bryce Shoemaker and Kyle Peacock. Both of these guys up about 5 positions from where they started inside the top 5 as they go around Justin Branaham right there. And here is Johnny Barker into the picture as well. Out in front, though, new race leader last time by Jim Ott has taken over the point. He says, I think the pace needs to be a little bit faster than what Holmes was running. So Ott gonna set the pace now here as Holmes and Lowell round out the top 3. Shoemaker, Barker, and Branaham here. As I think Peacock had a big moment. Yes, he did off of turn number 4. He lost a lot of ground, but luckily not too many positions, but now he has a pack forming behind him. As Johnny Barker now into the top 5, he takes over P number 4. Is going to try and race down that top 3 that has kind of broken away. Here we see Shoemaker and Branaham still side by side. Now Rob Lowell out in front here in that Gardner's Trading Post machine. So race sponsor with the kind of sponsor car out in front. That could be a good sign of things to come, as Lowell's season definitely not how he wanted to start. Had some consistency, but also had some bad luck. A rebound for him tonight would absolutely be huge for him. As Lowell takes over the point, he continuously trying to check out a little bit over Jim Ott in second. As you can see there, about a 2 car length gap between our top 3. So don't look too far back, as Johnny Barker has definitely caught this first 3 car breakaway. So Barker about to make it a 4 car battle here, and Shoemaker Branaham still racing very close and very tight with each other. The rest of the field starts to spread on out single file. Here we go though, pass for 15th here as Eric Holly looks to the inside of Coggin going into one. Chad gets a little bit of the Bodie action off of turn number 2, and that's something these drivers are going to have to fight here at Atlanta. These tires get so worn, especially the rears, that you almost start boating down the straightaway and the car will start drifting left and right. So not only do you have to worry about hanging onto the car in the corners, but you also have to start to do that here on the straightaway, especially through this front stretch dogleg, as there is very little banking as you continue to put wheel in that car, especially under full throttle conditions like we see most cars right now. So Holmes under heavy fire for that third position here as Barker looks to the high side. As Barker going to try and go around the long way here, around the outside of the number 90. They'll drag race down the backstretch right now, door number. As Barker has the momentum, he will get clear going into turn number 3. That opens up the door for Branningham. We'll see what the 58 can do up on the high side now. As Branningham should get clear, yes he does. Branningham into P number 4 here by the time they get to turn number 1. So race leader Stephen Holmes setting his pace, being disciplined to it, saying, hey, if you guys are faster, oh, is Holmes big time out of sorts off of turn number 2. He will somehow hang on to that car, but man, that could have been very bad in a hurry. And I was just about to say he's being good, being disciplined with his pace, but even backing it down, these things can get out of control in a hurry, and that being shown right there by our pole sitter. As great racing towards the front of the field here and throughout the field, as Jim Ott back out in front trying to set the pace, and a big gaggle of cars here right behind Kenny Reel, all duking it out for some clean air and of course the all-important track position. So Kenny Reel, luckily not having any pressure behind, can run his line. Everyone else behind pretty much 2 by 2, about 4 rows deep here, as Raposa will go to the high side of Holly. As Coggin gets a run on Reel, he'll get to the outside and draw even one car loose off of turn number 4. That is Eric Holly spinning through the grass. Holly will 360 and keep that car rolling, so we'll stay green flag racing. Holly, of course, losing a ton of positions. He'll be back in with the likes of Max Koss, Jason Wiley, and Cody Brewer, all having earlier issues here tonight. So now about 4 cars having issues that did not bring out a yellow here in the first 17 laps. .97 there again around the 62, and I'm seeing a lot of passes being completed on the high side, so I didn't think it would be this early, but usually as the race goes on here at Atlanta, especially this place being a concrete track that it is pretty line sensitive, and you'll see cars continue to go up the speedway searching for that cooler racetrack. But already here tonight we see the high line making moves, so it might just come down to that momentum racing, that if you can keep the momentum like you can on the high side, you'll be able to complete a pass, let's say, as long as there's no marbles up on the top side. And luckily right now, top side looking pretty clean from what I can see, so that is a good sign if you are a Kyle Larson like driver and enjoy ripping the fence, because I definitely think before we see these cars come down and pit, we'll see some guys ripping the fence before we know it. So 20 laps here in the books that time by Jim Ott, continuing to lead the way here. Rob Lowell in second, Johnny Barker third, Ray Shoemaker up in fourth. How about this, Kyle Peacock? He is back up into the top 5, running in 5th. 6th going to Justin Branningham, 7th. 8th is Dan Hill. Christian Delgado all the way up into the top 10. He sits 9th. And Brandon Guerin round out the top 10 currently as they run. Looks like Matthew Taylor having some issues. He is down on pit road for, looks like an extended pit stop here. Drivers starting to figure out what lane they want to run in. We're going to ride actually on board with Kyle Peacock, see what it's like to lap around this Atlanta Speedway and see what he's seeing as cars picking any line with some clean air in front of him. You can hear the amount of throttle these cars will take around the speedway, but with that throttle, it can get out from underneath you in a hurry. And taking a look at those times on the left side of your screen, about 25 laps into this race, and these tires are already a second off from where they started. So, like I said, folks, you may not think that tires matter too much here in iRacing, especially Atlanta. You know, you hear people talking about it all the time, but it definitely matters a lot. As here we go out in front, a 3-car battle, almost 3 wide into 1. And now side by side, Lowell up top, Ott down low, and Lowell back out in front. So yet another pass done on the high side of the speedway. They come to take lap 25 of that 140 mark. So far, all green flag laps so far. Shoemaker now looks to the inside of Ott. Riding on board with Ott, looking back at Shoemaker. Now Shoemaker will try to go to the high side here. Not quite able to get the nose there, but Ott leaving the door open. That time Shoemaker down to the inside. Shoemaker will have to try to get a better run off, but Ott going to be in the preferred line. Shoemaker, you can see that thing gets sideways as he tries to apply as much power as he can. Man, I tell you what, folks, you gotta love some hard racing here at Atlanta. So far, top 3 starting to get spread on out from each other. You may see now one car, the fastest car is out on track here. In traffic, we saw run his pace that first 25 laps. Now starting to turn it back up. Can he get back through this traffic? Back in the 7th position, trying to get around the 83 of Kyle Peacock. We'll get to the outside. We'll probably be door number to door number. Down to yeah. Oh, Chris Holmes big time sideways. How did Peacock miss him? As Peacock for sure had to get on the brakes as Holmes went across the whole racing zone there, trying to hang on to that race car. How did that here Holmes really have to wait to get in the throttle? Even waiting that long, he still got that sideways coming off. That turn two is very deceiving, as you can see all the banking these cars in this track has going through. Right about here, starts to take that can catch you out in a hurry if you're not prepared. As battle for second here, Jim Ott once again under fire from Bryce Shoemaker. Shoemaker gonna try the pass where no one has made it work. That is down on the inside lane. Not quite enough that time. Now, Ott and Shoemaker have to be careful because they don't want to spend too much time battling each other, because that will allow the race leader to get away and then drag them back to, let's say, Brannahan, or maybe even worse, Barker, and then the pack that sits behind Stephen Holmes. Another pack forming out here is from 10th on back. Dan Dill getting quickly caught by the cars behind him. That is a big gap. 6 of them all the way back to Chris Taylor as Dan Dill sideways off of turn number 2. Now looking to the high side, out of the woods grab. They run up top, not hanging out of top, but I think it will have a time to get to turn number 1. Yes, he will. He'll dive it down to that white line there, trying to wrap that thing in the long edge again. He'll get the run, but Dill into the wall. That will slow him down just a little bit. And some great racing here. Of course, great racing right behind them as well. We'll try and look a little bit further away here. Try and catch all the action on the speedway. Taking a look up at the top of the box there as, man, Kenny Reel almost gets shot into the wall there. He got pinched all the way up there. And this is, of course, looking from the top of the spotter stand. You can just see the runs that the cars can get if you're able to put down that power and not get that tire spin, especially on that high side. As Guerin now gets stuck in the middle here as Pogo and Reel. Now Chris Taylor will go around him, and here comes Eric Holly. Eric Holly having a great recovery drive. He is trying to get back into the top 15, and sorry, Eric Holly pitted. That is why he is a little bit quicker on those fresher tires. You can see him be that much faster, so that shows you about 20 lap newer tires, and Holly able to pass people on the inside like they're standing still. Especially with the tire wear tonight, I think we'll see drivers break this up into probably 50s here, pitting around lap 50, 100, and then trying to make it to the distance. We'll see if anyone's been really careful on these tires and let's say make it to lap 70. That is going to be a big time off. Now we're about a second and a half slower from the best race pace laps currently out on track. Pace definitely falling off the cliff here as we approach lap 1. Through a little bit of the chats here. See a shout out to Max Koss here. I believe Koss missed the grid here. Still on the lead lap, currently sitting 21st. He is just hoping for a yellow flag here to get caught back up. Has not had a chance to catch too many cars here, but slowly starting to catch the back half of the field. We're currently sitting about want to say a third of the track back from the race leader, so definitely hoping for a yellow flag. Of course, got Steve out there tuning on in. Hopefully that move's still going well for you. And yeah, Wolfpack Racing looking pretty good out here. Of course, best car of that group, the 21 machine, currently sitting in second. Not quite lost sight of the leader, still in the draft, so Mod still has company. On out. Troy Shoemaker starting to fall back into the clutch. See that pack behind him. Go, folks. 3 wide racing here down the backstretch. Get 2 wide racing. Holmes Holmes last. That's been one of the fastest cars on track, even in dirty air. We'll have to keep an eye on this 90 machine. See what he can do. Shout out to Bryce Shoemaker, currently hanging on to that 3rd spot. Now falls down to 8th as he is the sandwich there. It's 3 wide off of the 4. Delgado will get a piece of the apron. Jim continues to lead the point of the race. Cal Peacock big time side off the turn number 2. He left some black marks all the way down until that car finally gripped and ripped up down the back. Last time on track, got into that. I've got around Branningham, now sets the sights on Branningham. Have a cockpit shot of Holmes here. We're going to ride on board with him. Take a look at those last time. Last time by 32.56. See what this lap is. See the 3 cars in front of him, but the front 2 very far out in front, about a quarter of the track advantage. First takers down pit road. Jeff Mogo, last week's winner on pit road. I heard the call for the Valvoline machine down on pit road, so Johnny Barker going to be another early pitter, and this works out for those guys. They will have a big time advantage. They will undercut it. Like I said, pace is about a second and a half off the best time. So you're picking off a second and a half each lap. The question is, once you get to the back end of the run, you'll start to slow on pace. The undercut for the 21. Rob Lowell down on pit road. On up here from this lap. Kenny Rio Delgado both started, I believe 17th and 18th. Both of these guys inside the top 10, currently battling for the 7th position here. And Rio with a slight advantage at the start-finish line. Justin Coggin in on pit road, so only about 5 to 6 cars coming down the road. we got to give a shout out to this guy here. Has had a quiet but solid night. Now, for a statement up inside the top 5 where he started. And the line, number 30, she looked very sporty as this run continues to drag on. By about a 10 on pace with the cars in second and third, faster than the cars in third. Heck, those tires. Now we see Smith under fire from Kenny Reel. Now Stephen Holmes with that tire saving. One of the he is down. Same with the 93 of Denver, 13 of Wiley. There's Kenny Reel get around. Now here comes Lapper, Rob Lowell. It continues to stay where it is. Cycles on out. Lowell out the race. That would be the battle for the race lead. After Christian Delgado on pit road, Peyton down on pit road, Jim Ott will elect Kenny Reel down on pit road this time. One other car following. 2 out of the woods. He is down on pit road safely. Almost got the credit there. A bit of smoke. Now the question is, when will Jim Ott come down pit road? The undercut definitely going to make him hand over the race lead to the 21 machine. Now he's just going to try and run this on out. And make it to the lap 70 mark and 1 stop in the race. A lot of strategy going on for these drivers. A lot to think about. Not only that, they got to try and wheel a ill-handling race car that can fly on around at them at any time. So just another thing to add to these drivers' already full plate is a little bit of strategy. What will be the winning call here tonight for the Georgia Peach 210 presented by Gardner's Trade. Now that leaves about the top 6 cars have not pitted yet. Sorry, make that 7 here. We'll see where Austin Smith cycles on in. Came in about 5th. We'll see where he falls to there. Is Shoemaker and Peacock both down on pit road here. Peacock did get the grass, so will that be unsafe? If that is, that is a huge blow to the 83 machine, especially during green flag pit stop. That is one of the 2 get out of 4 green flag pit stop. It's unsafe pit entry and speeding down pit road, because that will hold you up and you'll see your race go out the window in a hurry. For a driver, that is one of the more frustrating things to see a race go out the window on a thing like pit road. You know, if it's out on the track and something happens, at least you knew you were on the edge of control, let's say, trying to do something, but on pit road, it is such a defeating feeling that it wasn't even racing that took you out of the race. As we see Justin Branham not going to take any chances getting down on pit road, get down early, take it nice and easy. I like the call from the 58. hitting about the 5th position when he did. He cycles back all the way back from what will be the race leader about, I want to say, 20 seconds back. Of course, better lap times, and will continue to be better lap times than the 21 of Rob Lowell, but way back here by extending the first run. Not at this point has to try and one two. Taking a look once again at our race leaders so far, everyone very spread on out after the green flag pit stops. Now get to lap 60 of 140 so far. Has been all green flag racing tonight's Georgia Peach 210. Battle shaping up here. Delgado and Coggin. Delgado by the best tires in this group. Inside the top 10, Delgado sits with the best tires of anyone. Second best being Stephen Holmes. Third best being Rob Lowell. Very good spot. Leading the cars that have hit it. Sitting with the third best in the top 10. As I heard it called on out from the spotter of the 74. Jason Larson down on pit road. This time, same with our race leader. Hot down on pit road here on 16. Here comes Jason as well. Both of them getting down pit road. Nice and easy, nice and clean as Jason's almost losing that back end, trying to get it woed up to that back end. Out to the 69 machine of Chris Taylor taking over the race lead. We'll see where Odd falls all the way down the standings. There's a lot of spots here. Chris Taylor will continue to stay out. Here comes up to speed here. See Kenny Real, Eli Raposa going on around. He close between Odd and Austin Smith. That's just Smith coming off of turn number 2. Looks like Ott will hang on in 13th position. Ott now sits about 20 seconds back from Rob Lowell. Has about 15 lap newer tires under the 4 machine. Can that make up a 20-second advantage? We'll have to see here. Chris Taylor continues to stay out on the speedway. At the moment here, 16 cars still on the lead lap. We are about to our first green flag pit stop once the 69 machine heads to pit road. That he is doing this time by on lap 64, coming to 65. That will do it for pit stops. Everyone has come in at least once to take some fresh Goodyear tires and fill it up with that virtual Sunoco race fuel. Now Rob Lowell leads the way over his teammate Johnny Barker in second. Jeff Pogo with the right strategy call. He is in third. Dan Dill up into fourth, trying to keep the top 5 streak in 81. Our pole sitter Stephen Holmes rounding out the top 5 here tonight. We'll having to work over a little bit of lap traffic. He's trying to get 3 of Robert Dent. This time 2 laps down. Cars with penalty on pit road. was the out of Woodscraft 62 machine of Zingen, as well as the 83 of Peacock. Both get busted on pit road, so they currently sit in the 23rd and 24th position. Battle for Pete, number 12 here as Austin Smith with the tire band trying to get around that W6 Yokomoza. Smith will make it look easy as Smith about 10 lap fewer tires than Raposa. Guys, we got to keep on with the tires. Like some Shoemaker, Jim Ott, and Austin Smith. Back bumper of Rio Rosella on the high side of the 11. Should be able to make this pass pretty easily here. That he does. Ott back into the top 10. Last time by though, Jim Ott a 31 flat. For our race leader, a 32 flat. So a second quicker for Jim Ott last time by, even in traffic. This time by for Ott, a 31.15. So Ott even in traffic. Absolutely nail in the pace. You can see that gap now about 16 seconds. Has to manage his pace. You can see that he is faster than all the cars in front of him. Just cannot force any issue to get some damage or make a mistake now to that number 1. He doesn't get held up by a lot of cars. We see him battle for the race lead by the time we head to our next set of green flag pit stops here tonight. Rob Lowell we're looking at here, you'll see whoever we're looking at highlighted in green there, that's our race leader, 3.1. You can see how everyone else is spread on around the speedway here tonight. This is the guy I want to keep my eye on here, about a half of track, I'd say just under half track back is Jim Ott. Start off here. See we have a long way to go to try and catch those cars in front of them. Battle on for some lap down cars here as Caden to the inside of the 55. This is battling for just inside the top 20 here. Abhishek get a good piece of the wall heading to turn number 1. You now see the damage on the wheels of that number 55. Now that feels like the pace of Babjack here. 74 machine here, getting his lap back the hard way. That will put 15 cars on the lead lap. Jason, the best tires out on the speedway besides Chris Taylor out there. Taylor's still one lap back, but he is catching our race leader, going to try and put himself back on the lead lap as well. Battle here for P9 as Shoemaker's trying to make the pass on Dustin Coggins. Shoemaker down low, Coggins up top. Shoemaker getting up a run off the turn to the pass. Coggins up top. Coggins gonna hold strong. Shoemaker gives it all. And look at that run. 54 has down the backstretch. Will sailed in there deep, trying to get to the 42. Looks like he moves some Shoemaker up into P9. So Jim Hott has quickly picked his way through that field here. Now currently in the 6th position and a decent amount of open track in front of the number 4 machine. Feathering that throttle off the turn, turning it sideways and have the pedal feather it that car. Next level run. Go back to that speed difference here. That's the double down right way. High. Flying around the speed. Make quick work of Stephen Holmes. That is good. Now Delgado for 40. The pace Jim on as here's run with those fresh tires as he will get around. Delgado and Holmes pretty much on the same lap. Last time by 191 for out at the stripe. Around 180s. Has 3 cars in front of him, 3 on him. As Pogo and Barker are fairly close, but Rob Lowell checked on out in front about a 4-second advantage. You can see there, Barker on the screen about 3.5 seconds ahead. Now allowed 2.5 seconds as Jim Ott driving wheels off the race car. To the inside of Pogo here. Will probably not be side by side. Turn number 2 is not going to stick that thing all the way on the bottom. And Pogo gets a piece of the wall there in 1-2. That is not what Jeff Pogo needs to be doing at this stage in the race. It has to be hitting perfect lap. Oldest sets of tires out there on the car. Last minute on lap 43. So now over 40 lap old tires under the 97 sheet. Pogo's got to be thinking about pitting here soon because you can see the speed he is bleeding around the cars around him. back is Brandon Guerin and Dustin Coggin right there as well. Kenny Real with the older tires. A little bit better races. Still able to get around the maker now. And still gets a piece of the wall off the top. That will kill the momentum on the 81 machine here. So if he wants to do that on the inside lane. Here we go. We see the first take. The second green flag pit stop. That being the 97 Logan down on pit road here on 87. Logan's going to be one of the main reaction here. As they saw what Lowell did. Short pit. Will be the one to copy for pit stop number 2 here. Inside line under Dan Dill. Doing a great job. There, Dill will relinquish the spot to now. What can Brandon Guerin do? As they got to make a move here quick because here comes Austin Smith on those fresh tires. I should say at least fresher tires. Now the freshest tires out there is of course the 97 machine of Jeff Pogo. Coggins gets loose. He will tank slap the wall down the backstretch. That was way up there as Austin Smith and Brandon Guerin lucky to get out of that one. No damage. And here comes Austin Smith. But here comes Brandon Guerin down on pit road. He wants to be one of the early ones this time. He is down on pit road. Austin Smith back into the top 10 here. And that number 3. Those drivers that finished last time are out this 45 to 50 mark. Coming on up for that next pit stop, one being our race leader, Rob Lowell. Nailed the first strategy here, about 3.5 seconds in front of Jim Ott. I think Lowell was doing a great job at managing those tires because last time by about 0.2 of a second difference between Lowell and Ott. Not having to use too much stuff to get through that field. Eli Raposa down on pit road. He was the 42 of Coggin this time. Yes, he will. Coggin down to pit road for the second and probably final time. Also the 11 of Kenny Real down on pit road. Christian Delgado able to get around Johnny Parker for that third position here. So Delgado from start mid back has made his way up into a podium spot. Position where he started here. Like Delgado last week. Peacock. And of course Kenny Real has very fast race cars. Peacock really going to get a piece of this, but Delgado and Real not the finishes. What a rebound it would be for those guys. But even if I say not the finish they wanted, still finishing inside the top 10. But they were definitely top 5 on that 10. The question is 50 laps on the tires for the 21 machine. How how many more laps does he go? Does he wait till Ott gets to the back bumper or not? Here on 95, we do see our race leader head down to pit road. Rob Lowell will give up the race lead and for the final scheduled stop in the Gardner's Trading Post number 21 machine. Come down for a full service here. Now we'll hand over the race lead to Jim Ott. What kind of pace does Ott have and how long does he go? Because last time we saw from lap 60 to now 95, 35 laps. Not enough time for Ott to catch goal. So has to pit a little bit sooner than that. I'm looking at lap 105 to pit there. Split that final stage into almost half from there and really let this thing fly from that point on. We also see the likes of Chris Taylor down the road, so now leaves about the top 7 after seeing pit road for the second time here tonight. Ripping the fence at 1 and 2. We'll do the same in 3 and 4, so Ott searching all around the racetrack to try and find that little bit of speed here before he pits again. The pit stops here. We're going to throw up the track map here and try and keep an eye on from third place, Christian Delgado down on pit road. Let's see where he cycles on out. Looks like Rob Lowell at the moment. Second car, one lap down, currently sitting in the ninth. Last time by, Jim Ott running a 32.39, whereas the likes of Jeff Logo, Rob Lowell, 31.30. Rob Lowell with a 30.49. So once again, that time differential has shifted to those fresh tires. And they are making up a ton of time in a hurry. So this time by at the stripe, we will complete 100 laps here already at the Speedway. 40 laps to go. Still not have some pit road. Make that now going to be the top 3 as Stephen Holmes, Austin Smith both down on pit road. Here I continue to pile here, so we'll stay on out. If I'm out as soon as that 20 pits, I'm coming into pits no matter what lap it is at there. Like I said, probably stretching to that lap 105. With his odd Shoemaker, Harrison, the only drivers that have yet to pit. At the moment, a big undercut from Jeff. So that has been a great lead here. Once these last 2 drivers have a very fast and under 21 machine on it. See that 21 machine reel it in our race leader this time by. Rob Lowell will get the lap back the hard way, so 21 machine back on the lead lap. If I was Jim Ott even there, I would say, yeah, we're going for lap 105, but since Lowell got around me there, I got to come in this time. So we'll see if the 4 car does on pit road this time. Or decide to continue to stretch out this one. Alrighty, folks, so looking here, Jim Ott continues to lead out here tonight, but under heavy fire from lap traffic, as he is one of 3 cars that has yet to pit here. As Shoemaker down on pit road here, so Shoemaker coming in at that 105 mark, like I thought maybe Ott would come down. So looks like Shoemaker, though, having some right side damage. We'll probably have to take a fast repair and get that thing checked on up and checked on out here before this final stint. So Shoemaker pits from second, falls all the way back now outside of the top 10. We'll see where he slots on the speedway. It looks like does not take one of those fast repairs, as a big pack of cars will go around the 54 machine here, as Shoemaker getting back up to speed, but he goes all the way from second to 14th, but he does have that tire advantage, about a 10 lap advantage to the cars around, as Jim Ott continues to stay on out on the speedway. Does Ott maybe think he can make it to the end, or is he hoping for a yellow and catch a lot of cars 1 lap down? Because you can see there on the left side of the screen, top 4 on the lead lap. Everyone else is trapped a lap down waiting for Jim Ott to pit. As we see a battle for positions here in this pack from 5th on back. Kenny Reel, Brandon Guerin, Christian Delgado, and Stephen Holmes all in a pack, as we see Dan Dill light up that right rear off of turn number 2. He will keep that thing righted in the right direction. And I thought I heard maybe someone wrecking there before, but we stay green flag racing here. We try and find anything that happened, and the only kind of weird thing is maybe Kyle Peacock down on pit road. As we see Stephen Holmes getting around Brandon Guerin, that is for the 7th position here, as now he sets his sights on Kenny Reel and Christian Delgado. Holmes and Delgado about even in the tire strategy than the other 2 cars around him. Reel and Guerin about 10 lap older tires than those guys, so that's why the pass looked easy for the 90 machine, but he's going to have his toughest opponent right in front of him, that being Delgado. So Jim Ott definitely hoping for a yellow flag by the time he pits next, because it seems like most of the time these drivers spending about 45 seconds in total on pit road from when they hit pit road entry line to pit road exit line. And you can see there in the timing and scoring tower on the right, Rob Lowell 20 seconds back, so that will put Ott all the way about 25 seconds behind, and he has to pit at least with 30 laps in the book, and that was already 4 laps ago to even try a chance to reel him back in. Jim Ott gonna have to probably only take 2 tires and then hope for a yellow flag before he has to pit here. So Ott continues to lead the way. Right now, Lowell in second, about half a track back. Then it is Jeff Pogo, Jason Ayerson that still has not pitted, and then Christian Delgado 1 lap down, rounding out the top 5. But you can see those 1 lap down pack starting to catch our race leader in a hurry here. Three wide action here with our race leader as Ott will get stuck all the way on the high lane. That time by for the number 4 though. 25 laps to go. And you know, with this great green flag racing, a lot of action, a lot of great stuff going on, I haven't had a chance to get a drink of water. So with this time here waiting for the 4 to pit, let's let the cars do the talking here. Let's do one of the favorites, a little turn 3, turn it up. We'll be right back. We come back to green flag racing action. Jim Ott still out on track. Does he have enough to make it to the end? We'll wait and see. I think we got to ride on board with our race leader, see if he is saving fuel on corner entry. And you can hear Ott there spending a lot of time off of the throttle here tonight and trying to save that fuel. As he isn't shutting off the car or hitting the clutch, that it sounds like to me, so not full fuel saving, as Ott a little bit sideways there off of turn number 2. Once again, we'll pull up the track map on the right side of the screen, see where your favorite driver is running out on track. Top 5 has not changed yet, but now 9 cars back on the lead lap here tonight. Dustin Coggin currently sitting in 10th. Currently the lucky dog candidate, but has a fast Bryce Shoemaker tracking him down right behind him here. As we see Shoemaker try and make the move before they get to Ott. Looks like Shoemaker will use Ott as kind of a pick to get around Coggin. We'll keep him up on the high side here. And Shoemaker gets back into the top 10 and back on the lead lap with that move. Dustin Coggin will also get back on the lead lap, so make that 11 cars now, and 12th being the lucky dog. That is now Justin Branham, currently the lucky dog. As Jim Ott continues to lead the pace here, Rob Lowell in second, about 11 seconds back. Last time, about 0.6 of a second better for Lowell. As Lowell that time by almost a second better than Jim Ott. So 16 laps to go, 10 seconds back. Rob Lowell should be able to catch Jim Ott, but here comes Ott. He couldn't save enough here with 15 to go at the stripe. Has to come in for at least a splash and go for the number 4. Man, that is a tough strategy call, sitting in the driver's seat there, knowing that 15 laps is all you needed, but we'll drop him way down in the order. Now Rob Lowell with a comfortable lead over Jeff Pogo, about trying to increase the gap to about 8 seconds. Then Delgado now into third, with Stephen Holmes catching him here. So Rob Lowell has put on a masterclass so far with the strategy here tonight at Atlanta. The last thing the 21 needs to see is that first caution flag flying, and with Jim Ott pitting that late, he comes out just in front of the race leader, all the way back in 12th, and about 30 seconds back. Man, oh man. We now head over to the third position as Stephen Holmes tracking down Christian Delgado little by little. We'll see if he has enough here. And then right around the top 10 there, a 3-car battle between Garen Branham and Austin Smith. So even though this strategy spread out a lot of cars, still some battles to be had before this race is over. As we look at Austin Smith, best tires of these guys, but Branham very similar tires, and then Brandon Guerin going to try and hold on to everything he can with 12 laps to go once he hits the stripe. Guerin will try and hit the bottom. Branham going to try and have the momentum up top, and then the wild card here, the 74 machine, trying to get some positions back, may open up a gap for these drivers. As here comes Austin Smith on that inside lane, going to try and work around Justin Branham and maybe even Brandon Guerin. He'll go door to door with Branham, and right in front of them, Dustin Coggin slipping on back to this group as well. Man, oh man, some tight racing at the back half of the top 10 here. As 3 wide here, there, Colley up top, Guerin in the middle, now Branham down low. They somehow sorted out, but this time by from the flagman. 2 open palms. It is 10 laps to go. And this Gardner's Trading Post Peach Cup 210 has been a barn burner here tonight. Have seen everything but that yellow flag, and we'll take it, as this is the racing That makes it 802 Riptide Radio Series special. A lot of great drivers, and I tell you what, to go to Atlanta and so far have no yellows in the first 30 laps, very, very impressive by all of these drivers out here tonight. So Austin Smith able to get through that gaggle of cars. That will put him all the way up into P number 8. Garrett still holding on to P number 10 over Branham, as this is the best battles on the speedway here at the moment, as everyone inside the top 5 pretty spread on out. As here comes Jim out with those fresh tires, gonna be the sandwich in the middle, and oh, here we go. Jim Ott somehow hangs on to that race car. Holy smokes. As he will come out in front of the track, right in front of the 12 of Cody Brewer. Brewer having nowhere to go, but man, how did Ott hang on to that race car as he got about 45 degrees sideways there. Ott trying to make up as much time as he can before this race is over, and that was to try and get back into the top 10. Gonna have one more shot at it before it's over. As wow, Ott stays in the throttle there, just threads the needle to the outside of Guerin there. Wow, that was a power move by Ott. You can see the speed he has compared to the cars around him, but just not enough time for Ott probably even to get into the top 5 before this is over. Austin Smith able to get around Dan Dill. That is for P number 7 now. As Ott will make quick work of Branham and Coggin there. Now Branham will try and get around the 42 machine. This is a battle for a top 10 finish here between the 42 and the 58. They'll go door number to door number into turn number 1. Branham with the preferred line can get to the power a little bit better, but Coggin shorter distance around. Can he do it? Branham will get a piece of the wall, but that won't slow him down enough. He will get clear by the time they get to turn number 3. So Branham clears Coggin for P number 10. Here comes now Jim Ott, got around Dan Dill, now trying to get around Austin Smith. And this is probably the best that I can do here tonight, as it'll be too long of a distance to get to Shoemaker in that 6th position. Jeff Pogo, though, getting hunted down by Christian Delgado here with 3 laps to go at the stripe. Rob Lowell checking on out even more. 11-second advantage to the 21 machine. Man, what a night it has been for him. But here we go. Battle for second. Delgado looking low. Pogo trying to defend up top. We ride on board with Jeff Pogo, looking back to Delgado. This time by at the stripe will be popsicle sticks up in the air. Where does Delgado go? He has about 10 lap fresher tires than Pogo. Delgado will sail it down into turn number 1. Will drive it in there deep. Does he have enough of a run to get off at turn number 2? They'll stay side by side. Lap traffic right in front of them. Though for the race lead, Rob Lowell will see the white flag this time by. One more lap to go. This race will race down to the checkered flag, but Delgado with the advantage there at the stripe. Delgado's gonna need a perfect 1 and 2. We'll drive it in there deep. We'll slide up in front of Jeff Pogo. Does Pogo go for the crossover? Yes, maybe not, as he'll fall in line. But here at the stripe, the 21 machine of Rob Lowell picks up his first win of season number 5. Off of turn number 2, Delgado will get P number 2. Jeff Pogo will round out the podium positions. Stephen Holmes will bring it home in 4th, and Kenny Reel keeping up that streak will finish in the 5th position. Man, oh man. Yeah, Steve, tonight, caution free here at Atlanta. 140 laps, all under the green flag, going from green to checkered. An awesome job by all 27 drivers out here tonight. But here on the front stretch, Rob Lowell in this special paint scheme. He might have to run this scheme a couple more times before the season is over. But Rob Lowell will burn it on down here at Hotlanta. As we see Rob Lowell out here doing the Alan Kowicki. It is the Polish victory lap from the number 21 machine. And man, what a race. I said it before. I'm going to say it again. What a race by these drivers. But man, what a strategy race by this 21 machine to pick up the win with an 11-second advantage. Heck of a job by Rob Lowell as he'll finish out this Polish victory lap, and we'll be back with our post-race show. Don't go anywhere, folks. We'll be talking to the top 3 here in just one moment.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
Alrighty, we come back to Atlanta Speedway and dialing up our 3rd place finisher, that being the number 97 machine, last week's winner, Jeff Pogo. Jeff, do you got a copy of Spread the Jet in the booth here? Alrighty, man. Walking away with a 3rd place finish, and I bet you're glad the race finished when it did, because I bet those tires were begging for mercy there at the end, trying to hold off Delgado.
There, it kind of cost me 2 seconds. I don't know why they're battling in front of a leader. but or lead lap car when it's racing for position, but whatever. It's kind of aggravated me, but it is what it is. I mean, it is a race. Everybody has the same racetrack I do, but wish it wouldn't have cost me 2 seconds. I might have been able to hold off Christian. I don't know.
Yeah, it definitely would have been close with that. And sorry, Jeff, I actually cut you off at the beginning of that. Didn't have your mic turned on the way it should have been there. So you're talking about those tires and how the car was feeling there at the end, trying to hold off Delgado. What were your percentages? And car you said was feeling halfway decent still, though?
It was halfway decent. I was still in the 60s on the right front, so not terrible. Running the high line kind of saves, a little bit of right front tire, but just got held up by some lappers, which kind of cost me 2 seconds. So that brought Christian a little closer. Without that, I might have been able to hold him off. I don't know. He was coming pretty good there at the end, but top three, I'll take it. If I'd have been on the same strategy as Rob and Christian, I think I'd have had the speed to contend for the win. But cards didn't play right for me tonight. So congrats to Rob, Christian, and everybody for a clean race.
Yeah, I tell you what, 140 laps, clean and green at Atlanta. I mean, did you have that on the strategy bingo card coming into tonight?
Honestly, I kind of did, yeah, because this track after a couple laps, y'all kind of seem to get spread out, and then there's multiple lanes that the both ends you could run all the way up against the wall where I was running most of the night, and then you had guys running bottom, middle, second lane off the wall, this and that. But it always makes for good racing. I don't see how anybody can prefer the super speedway version over this.
Yeah, I totally agree. I said even in the pre-race, these guys are men out here tonight, choosing the old Atlanta, the track that is very, very tricky, very technical. And I tell you what, you guys did a heck of a job out here tonight. You being one of them to almost tame the beast all the way, but definitely a very solid run as this track. As we all know, one little mistake can compound to something huge here in a hurry.
Yeah, and luckily I just got a little bit of right front damage there on lap one that didn't kill my night, but it definitely put me behind. So I don't even know. Are we at Pocono next week? I don't even know. I'd have to look at the schedule. If we're at Pocono, you ought to be in for another good show because a couple laps that'll string out and be good racing. And
Yep, and that's where we are. We're at the Tricky Triangle next week, so
I look forward to that one too. I'm halfway decent there, so it ought to be good.
yeah, that place always puts on, like you said, they get spread on out, but another very technical track and usually puts on a pretty good show, even though, people tend to say it's a boring race even behind the seat, but that's neither here nor there.
Yep, I agree.
As Jeff looking over at some other stuff, to start the season, we're 5 races in, and so far you have the best average finish of anyone that has raced all 4 races coming into tonight, now 5th. 5 races, finishing 3rd, walking away with the points lead, coming into tonight with the points lead. So kind of making yourself the early favorite, Jeff. How does that feel, and what kind of extra pressure now does that put on, and does that change any of the thought process?
It doesn't really change my thought process any. Just try to keep it clean and consistent throughout the season. It's still, like you said, 5 races in. It's way too early to tell, who's a favorite. I wouldn't even consider myself a favorite. It's just, I don't know. Consistency is key to winning these things, especially in a championship like this, where it's just blah, 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 points, add up throughout the season. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm not going to call myself a favorite. There's lots of guys in here that can do it. I've just had some decent races right off the gate.
Well, I like to bring in the excitement and drama, and I'm going to go put you as one of the early favorites, Jeff. So no pressure on you, but you already got my stamp of early favorite.
Well, I'll take it, but I'm not gonna say I am yet.
All righty, Jeff. Well, awesome job here tonight to hang on to 3rd place. Before we get you with your closing statements, one final thing I got to ask about is you were, I think, the earliest driver to pit in that final stop. I mean, what was the thought process behind that? You know how much time you can make up with pitting early, but the key is keeping those tires under you. And what was kind of the thoughts there?
Well, I knew I could keep the tires, pretty good all the way to the end. I'm pretty good at saving tires, especially around the high line. But like I said, with getting that damage on lap one, it put me behind. I was tight all the way through that first run, so I had to pit early to kind of make up some of the pace that I had lost and get some track position back, which I did, and then I did it again for the second stop, and then just try to have clean racetrack and pit as early as I can, and either pray for a caution at the end if it wasn't going to work out, which it actually did kind of work out for me, um, or just do what I was doing, try not to, the last run, come out of the pits and just burn my stuff up in the first 10 laps. I had to pace myself. Even though I knew I could go faster, you just got to pace yourself, not burn them up first 10 laps.
Yep, that is the name of the game, especially here at Atlanta. So once again, Jeff, awesome job. Another podium for you tonight. Talking with me, you said consistency the key. Definitely starting it off on the right foot. But before we let you go, Jeff, celebrate this third. I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank, either on the car, watching at home, or any other teammates or such.
My wife, like always, for putting up with my crap. I was gone all day yesterday racing, and then tonight she's letting me do this, and just team and S Works. It's on the car this week. I'm sponsored by them and racing RC cars. So yeah, them guys for being on board and helped me out with that kind of racing, and then over on this side too, and my teammates for they did the practice race and stuff and kind of told me what the car was doing since I didn't have time this week to get in the sim. So I just kind of got thrown into it. But yeah, them guys and everybody in the league that did a full green race. You can't beat that. So it says a lot about this group.
That it does, and shows you what kind of skill levels in this league. Even though a lot of different pace throughout the field, these guys know how to race well around each other. So, Jeff, great talking to you again. Always a great time. You have yourself a great rest of the night, and we'll catch you next week at Pocono. You said you're excited for that one.
Yeah, hopefully I'll see you back in the booth after the race. I guess we'll see.
All righty. Sounds good, Jeff. Have a great night.
You too, buddy.
All righty. That was our third place finisher and points leader walking out of Atlanta, Jeff Pogo. Now we'll catch up with the runner-up finisher, that being the 31 of Christian Delgado. Christian, you got a copy? It's Brett the Jet in the booth here.
I got you, Brett.
All righty, man. How you feeling after 140 green flag laps at Hotlanta?
This was a tough one. This was kind of dire situation here. So my rig, my PC I have on my rig actually broke last Friday right before the Moon Car 24. So I was kind of in a panic today. Luckily, that PC that broke on me is my work computer for racing and for also broadcasting here on the sim. So I had my other desktop PC I had laying around here, so I plugged it in here and got everything put up. So that was tough. I had no force feedback. On my V3s, I had no inputs on my pedals, so no no force feedback, no overlays, no nothing. We came in here raw, and I don't know how we're in here, to be honest. I don't know how we got that P2.
Yeah, that is tough to do, especially at a very difficult track like Atlanta. Very high tire wear. This car gets out from underneath you in a hurry. So for you to have no force feedback, no feeling in the car, and to walk away with a second has to feel pretty good after all that's said and done.
Yeah, it definitely does. I had this track circled on my calendar to, be up here, be dominant. I wish I could have been up there with Rob, but I was doing everything I can just to keep the car on the track. But yeah, P2, considering the circumstances, I'll take that. I mean, I was coming in here, I qualified, P18, P19, because I couldn't figure out how to push it without the force feedback, obviously. This is one of the only times I've, had any experience with no force feedback. So, yeah, but hats off to Rob. I mean, didn't really have a crazy strategy, just put the cards in the right place. I know Rob doesn't get to win a whole lot here, even though he deserves to, so hats off to him.
Yeah, he ran pretty much a perfect race on the strategy side of things to walk away with the win here tonight. You yourself, having a pretty good strategy with everything considered, able to get to Jeff Pogo there in the closing laps. I mean, what was that battle like to, try and manage those tires, but also try and get around him knowing that you only had 3 laps to go?
Yeah, I don't know when Jeff pitted with no overlays, but I knew that when I got out he was in front of me, so I knew that he pitted sometime before me, and with the way I had to drive the car, I was just naturally a little bit better at saving tires, so I, kind of babied it around until we could get the tires warmed up, and then it was just kind of go time. I saw that on the front half of the run I was picking up like 3, 4, 5 tenths a second, and then as I got to him, as the tires wore out and got equal, it went down to 2 tenths, 1 tenth, half a tenth, and I was like, shoot, I got to put a little bit more work into it, but it was also just so hard to push the car harder than I needed, hard as I needed it to. But we got it done there. I think lap traffic had a huge deal in getting me to him. I know with what I think it was like 5 or 6 to go, he got caught up in about like a little 4 car pack there, and well, I wouldn't say he even caught them. They kind of caught him because we all had old tires. Some of those guys who were lappers, pitted after us and went a lap down by nature, and were going around us. And I think um, the lappers just caught him at the worst times, and it just allowed me to kind of run my line versus him, who kind of had to run the wall to let these guys by. And yeah, I knew when I got to him, I had to race him clean. I'm someone who doesn't really like to rough people up, even for a win. And yeah, I noticed that he was ripping the wall, and I knew the wall was gonna burn his stuff up. Atlanta is this track I've really put a lot of time into figuring out how to save tires, and I got there, ran the bottom, wrapped it, almost wrecked him. I got so tight, but had to back out of it, and then we just got around him. What was it, with 2 to go there, and we're able to pull off this P2.
Yeah, very, very impressive stuff here, Christian. And kind of continuing, let's say, a little bit of a hot streak. Texas, you had a lot of speed. Sadly, didn't probably get the finish that you wanted there. But ever since your win at North Wilkesboro, you seem like you've been in the contention of a win each and every week. And looking at the points as well, kind of bigger picture stuff, walking away here tonight, chipping away a little bit at Jeff's points lead. And now you're walking away in second in points already 5 races in.
Yeah, the first couple of races did not go how I wanted to. Of course, Daytona, we had that, scoring glitch because we wrecked on the last lap, and I think we didn't get the position we actually got. I think we ended up P23, and then Dover not being able to race. That's kind of our 2 drop weeks. Wilkesboro, obviously, we came out there and kind of lucked into a win, but Texas, yeah, I really thought we had a winning car, and unfortunately, those last what ever since that late race caution came out, I felt like the racing just kind of went to crap there with people just moving each other out of the way, and unfortunately got us wrecked doing that. And I will take some fault there. I did not realize I was blinking last race. Apparently I was all race, but was able to pull out a P9 there. Thought we had a winning car, and then to come here at Atlanta with another kind of weird set of circumstances. Very appreciative that I could pull off a podium here.
Yeah, and this was probably the best finish you were going to get with starting as deep as you did, unless everything, worked out perfectly to finish second. Christian, to me in my books, is pretty much a win for you, starting where you did, I think 17th or so.
Yeah, I definitely agree. I mean, that's something I need to pride myself on, is getting better at qualifying, because Uh, once again, I don't know if I had the pace for Rob. I mean, he was lights out, perfect race. So congrats to him. But yeah, I mean, having to drive through the field, especially that first run, is always tough because you have to burn yourself up a little bit more to get through some of the guys you have better pace than, but just can't qualify better than, unfortunately. So yeah, I think it's we did what we did to get up here, and we did the best we could. I mean, Rob had a spot on perfect race here, so it's cool to see him win. I know as the league owner, he's had a couple of win slipped through his fingers. I know I have as well. So super cool to see him come in here and win.
Yeah, that it is. Well, Christian, before we let you go and wrap on up for your runner-up finish here tonight, I'm going to go hand over the mic to you and thank who you got to thank, either on the car, tuning in at home, or maybe some of those fantastic teammates.
Yeah, first of all, once again, I have to give a huge shout out to Rob and all the admins putting on the show here. No, we couldn't do it without him. And thank you to all the sponsors who put on this league. Riptide Radio, Stone, BG Graphics, all the guys over there who help make this league run. On top of the admins here, and yeah, you couldn't do it without them putting everything on. But gotta give a huge shout out to my sponsors, Track Racer, Bully Dog Coffee Company. Thank you, Patrick, for everything you do. Thank you to SimMotion and the SimMotion guys for allowing me to come in here and run in here. Go use code 802 over at simmotion.com for 5% off your order. I'd really recommend it. Super great group of guys and a lot of very good stuff you can get over there. I'm also got to give a huge shout out to the Bean team. Thank you, Jeff, Soli, Poppy, Matthew, Peter, Levi, all those guys over there. Tommy, I mean, we just ran the Moon Car 24 last week over there with the Bean team. Fortunately, didn't get the finish we wanted, but still couldn't do anything without you guys. I've got to give a huge shout out there. Steel Car Detailing, thank you, Titan, for all you do. I know you got some pneumonia, so I'm praying for you to get better, and hopefully you can pull through with that. Thank you so much to Delta Eagle Designs for making a lot of my paints and making me look nice and professional up here on the broadcast and on track. Love to see it. Once again, got to give a huge shout out to my teammates over at SimMotion Racing. But lastly, got to give a huge shout out to the people over at twitch.tv/ChristianBoss13. I wouldn't probably be racing as much and doing leagues and streaming and all that stuff if it wasn't for you guys. So, I enjoy coming in here and being, somewhat dominant in some of these leagues and putting a good show on at the fans at home. Also, got to give a huge shout out to High Velocity TV, my personal broadcasting network. So, if you guys, if Turn 3 Networks, they also do a great job. But if they don't have any fill-ins here, if you guys are looking for a broadcast, mostly NASCAR side things, go over us and email us over at hvtvbroadcasting@aol.com. But speaking of broadcasting, we've got to give a huge shout out to you, Brett, and all the guys over at Turn 3 Racing for putting on a show for the fans at home, for us drivers to not only to go back and watch, but to even go back and do homework and figure out where we can be better. So definitely couldn't do without you guys putting in all this hard work for the broadcast.
Yeah, appreciate all the great words there, Christian. And yeah, I have to check out your broadcasting company because haven't checked it out yet. Been on the bucket list to check on out. I think especially during Christmas break while I got a little bit of time, might have to throw on up. So Christian, once again, huge congrats with the second here tonight. You, my man, have yourself a great rest of the night. And I'm sure we'll be talking to you again here in the near future.
Yeah, thanks a lot. Take care, man.
Alrighty, folks. That was Christian Delgado bringing it home in the runner-up position. And now we head down to Victory Lane and chat with the man of the hour. It is the 21 Gardner's Trading Post Ford Mustang of Rob Lowell. Rob, do you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Brett. How you doing?
Pretty good, man, but I don't think as good as you. How are you feeling after 140 green flag laps at Hotlanta?
Oh, I'm psyched, man. That was it's been 2 seasons since I've won here. And man, they're like carbon copies of each other, the wins. If you go back and watch the one from, I don't know, 2 or 3 seasons ago, it's same thing. I killed people on strategy.
Yeah, I tell you what, whoever's the crew chief on top of that box, probably you in the car, but they need a raise. I tell you what, after a show like that tonight, it was impressive.
Yeah, I mean, it's strategy and saving your tires. And first run, I was really good. I felt bad. I got loose under Bryce there at one point and got him up into the wall. And I told him, hey, if you get back to me, I'm going to give you the spot. But he didn't get back to me. Like lap 30, I caught Jim, and I knew I was in a pit on lap 45, 46, and I could have drove by Jim at will at that point, and I didn't. I told my teammate Johnny Barker on Discord, I'm like, hey, I'm just going to ride behind him because we got like 3 seconds on the guys behind us, and I don't have to call my pit stop. So the league rule is if someone's within 1 second of you or 1.5 seconds of you, you have to call your pit stop out on the radio. But if no one's within that gap behind you that doesn't have to worry about running you over, you don't have to call it. So I just rode behind Jim till 45, and came and got my first set of tires. I looked at them; they were my right front, right rear were really good, and I said, okay, now it's stretched out, we should be good. And went back out, and I had a set lap time on mine I wanted to hit to save tires, and I just kept hitting that lap time the first 10, 15 laps of the run, taking that wide arc in and driving down, just limiting the wheel input, and worked out. I knew I was going to go 50 laps on that run, and pit next on 95, so my last run was only 45 laps.
Yeah, and that seemed like that car was moving here tonight. Like you said, had your pace you wanted to hit, you hit that and was able to check on out. I assume those tires looked great there at the end, but a little bit of the strategy call, you probably saw a little bit in the practice race, let's say, that you guys host on Saturday night, but that top side seemed really, really good, even early in the race. I mean, was that something you knew coming into tonight, or were you surprised how early cars were able to move up there and make moves?
No, I know you could go up there. I knew you could go up there and pass someone. You didn't want to go up there and like pound lap after lap up there. If you do that, it's like a cheese grater. It just kills your tires. But I did it early, a lap to get by Jim and get my bonus point for leading the lap, and then he started pushing a little bit. I'm like, nope, I'm not. You want to go faster right now than I do, and I let him go back by. And then the whole key there was I wanted to see him at the end of that middle run from like 46 to 95. I know Jim pitted like 12, 13 laps later than me, maybe even closer to 15. But I knew if he didn't get to me, I was in good shape. And he got to within like, I think it was 3.5 seconds of me when I pitted for my last set of tires. And I'm honest, and I said this after his final pit stop, lap 130, I said in the race radio, I told Jim I was shocked. Like if I was him and I'd seen that, hey, I didn't get back to him and I was 3 seconds back, I would like, if I was him, I would have pitted there when I pitted and kept that 3-second gap. Then you have something to work with. And I said, well, maybe he'll pit like 100, and then he went to 110, and then he went to almost 120. And I knew when we got by like 105, I said, well, if it stays green, Jim's out of this race as far as catching me. And I know what he was doing at that point. At that point, I think he knew that he was strategy-wise kind of sunk. So he was hoping to catch a caution. He'd still lead. There'd been enough laps of my tires. We both would have go down pit road, and that would have been a shootout. But I was praying to the gods, from like halfway, and hey, no yellows here.
Yeah, and it worked out perfectly. And I had your same thought process, Rob, as well in the booth. I said, man, once Jim went past lap 105, I said, yeah, he's got to stay out there and just hope for that yellow that never came, because at that point, you definitely don't have enough time to reel in, even if you're a second and a half faster than everyone around you, just with the tire fall off still, as well as, lap traffic and cars racing around you.
Yeah, I felt horrible for my teammate Johnny Barker. He was third there when we came in the last pit stop. Jim had gotten by him, but he was on the same strategy as me, and I know he was like 6 seconds back from me at that point when we pitted, and he got busted speeding coming down pit road. Or I really think we would have had a 1-2 as teammates there.
Yeah, and this pit road, very, very tricky. iRacing added that stuff with the marbles. I don't know if you've got to play around a little bit with that, but did that make a difference coming to pit road? I mean, like I said, this pit road's tricky enough to get down, but you had a little bit of new unknown with the marbles. I mean, did you notice anything different?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So yesterday, Johnny and I were practicing a little bit, and before the practice race, and we practiced pit stops, and I was locking my brakes up horrible, and I'm like, man, I was practice here Wednesday, and I'm pitting the same way I did then, and something's different. I didn't really understand what went on, but I actually went in and remapped my brake pedal and changed it a little bit, so I had more throw in it, so I could be easier on it getting into the pits. And I know I think I gave up a little bit. Coming in, I think I gave up some time because I was really, really cautious, but I didn't want to get busted speeding. And the other thing I found is with this new model, when you lock the brakes up, you don't slow down as much as you used to even when you're locked up. It really slides. It keeps momentum up. So yeah, I was cautious getting out of the pits.
Yeah, and definitely needed to be, especially with the race you knew you had in front of you, to limit those mistakes to a minimum, because you probably know as well as the rest of them, you get something like that speeding on pit road under green flag pit stops, man, your night is pretty much done from that point on.
Yeah. How about taking the Gardner's Trading Post Ford Mustang to Victory Lane on Gardner's Trading Post night? So
Yeah, how about
hey,
that?
you cannot beat that. You take your sponsor to Victory Lane on the night he sponsors the race. So um, shout out to Gardner Stone and from Middlebury, Vermont, and I got to park the tribute scheme to his Cobra Jet drag car in Victory Lane, and it was a good night.
Yeah, so that leads me to my next question, Rob. New paint scheme on for the Gardner's Trading Post coming on sponsoring this race. You guys go to victory lane in it. Is this scheme now just going to have forever be the 1-in-1 car, or is maybe a paint scheme maybe changing some luck for you? Might be needing to run a different scheme from here on out.
I don't know. We have our team schemes. I'm sure you've noticed that myself and Barker and Lamaga and Ritter and Barefoot and Larson, all our paints, it's pretty much a basic paint. It's the same template paint with just different colors, and we like running those theme races. We break them up a little bit, and I stepped out of the box tonight for the sponsor night, but I like running. We got two great um, painters in our league. We got Brandon Grant of BG Graphics, who did my paint for tonight, and we have Dave Lamaga of DTL Customs, who also does them. He does all the paints he helps do the paints for the league for the throwback race. He does our team paints. So I try to support both of them. They both are great sponsors of the league and great friends. And next week, Pocono, the team paint will be back on, but Gardner's tribute paint will go into the stable, and we'll put this car up on a lift in the shop and bring it back out maybe later on in the season.
Oh man, yeah, it'll be exciting to see this paint scheme out, because at the moment, at least this season, it's 1-for-1. That's a pretty good record with a car.
Yeah, and I needed something to change my luck. North Wilkesboro for the second season in a row bit me in the butt, and Texas last week, man, I just screwed that up, and I was on the tire saving strategy early, and then I thought Jim Ott banged me up a little bit, getting inside of me. And when I watched the replay, he didn't. I actually came down on him a little bit. So I raced him hard for 15 laps just because I was an idiot. And I owe him an apology for that. Burnt his stuff up, burnt my stuff up. And then the way the caution came out there, it trapped 15 of us a lap down, even though the leaders were behind us and never gave us our wave around and then put under caution and then put the leaders back ahead of us. So I did that to myself last week, and I needed something to pick me up because I was feeling like a complete moron after that race.
Yeah, and you talked about it, not the best start to the season on the luck side of things that you wanted. Tonight, picking up the win at Atlanta, very difficult track. Next week, Pocono, another kind of very technical track. How's the outlook for the rest of the season now with this big boost here tonight at Atlanta?
I went back to my basic tonight. I kind of saved and I didn't go hard right off the bat, and I let the race come to me. And I'll probably that seems to work best for me. I tried last season. I lost some races because I did that, and guys were more aggressive and they would get out in front of me in the run. But with the 7% fuel load, by the time I'd get where I'd start picking up on them, we'd pit because of fuel. And I had a long talk with Kenny Real before the season started, and he's like, man, you're killing yourself doing that. But I tried to be aggressive the first couple weeks, and I didn't feel like it was working for me. And then I got to thinking, well, we're having longer runs now because of the full fuel load, or have the potential for a longer run. I'm really good at saving tires. I'm going to play to my strong suit. So, hey, I'm gonna do what works for me, and then go from there.
Yeah, and tonight, falling right into your lap, one of the races that you always seem to thrive at, a long green flag run, some pit road strategy. You always seem to be one of the best at that, and tonight showing off all those skills. I think by the end of it, winning by 11 seconds, that's definitely a statement win.
Yeah, I mean, I got lucky. Johnny got a speeding ticket. He probably would have been. I think he would have been right there within 3 to 5 seconds of me. He was like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 seconds back when we pitted, and in practice this week, he would kick my butt for 25 laps, and from like 25 to 40, because we were doing 40-lap runs in practice, I would start to get back to him, and like lap 40, I'd be with him. So we would have had a 1-2 finish there, and I don't. It would have been 11-second lead, and honestly, I think I just got lucky. Some guys, Jeff Pogo had some bad luck early, and he had to change his strategy up. Christian was on a completely different rig than he usually is. He had no force feedback. I mean, things just went my way tonight, and I got lucky, and I came out on top. So I'll take it.
Yep, you got to take them when you can get them. And tonight, Rob, picking up your first win of season number 5, and first time talking with me this season. I know that's very hard to believe, but with that, I always like to ask the driver, what is their sim setup like? Give a little bit of maybe the people watching at home, and of course myself, a little bit of extra info. So Rob, what do you got in front of you? What are you looking at? All that good stuff here.
I got a single 32-inch monitor. I got older Fanatec Club Sport Wheel version 2.5 belt drive. I got the Fanatec V3 pedals. I got a Ryzen 9 5900X processor behind a 3070 Ti graphics card. That's it. It's bolted to a desk, and I sit in a computer gaming chair. It's nothing fancy, but it works for me.
Yep, and that's all the great joys about sim racing is you don't need the $10,000 very fancy, very high-tech stuff to go out there and run good. Sometimes some low-end or for sure run-of-the-mill stuff can go out there and get you a lot of wins and some pretty good finisher results when it's all said and done.
I will say my teammates, Johnny and Steve and Jeff, they're after me. They all run direct drives, and Johnny and Jeff have Moza. Steve has that new Logitech direct drive, and they all tell me that, hey, if you go direct drive, you're gonna get even better. Like when Johnny got his Moza stuff, he instantly went from, like, I used to put seconds on him in a run, and all of a sudden, like most of the time in practice and in the race, he's better than me now. So that's my next upgrade, is go to a direct drive wheel. But for right now, what I got's working for me, so I'll probably stick it out through this season.
Yeah,
I will say that this race here, there was a split in the camp of the league. Half the guys wanted New Atlanta, half wanted Old Atlanta, and how can you have a race like this, green flag the whole way, comers and goers, and want to go to the quote unquote plate race, even though it's not anymore, and be bunched up in a pack? It's just, this is racing to me.
Oh yeah, I am totally in that same boat as you, Rob. As I even said pre-race, these guys are real men in this league, going to Old Atlanta and get some great racing. And once again, you guys put on a heck of a race out here tonight, and it was a blast to watch from the green flag all the way to the checkered with, like you said, the